Welcome to Hate to Wait, where two lifelong dieters talk about their current struggles with weight loss. Diets, we've tried them all. We are not doctors. We don't play them on TV or on this podcast. Join our journey because misery loves company.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi, John. Oh, the enthusiasm is just oozing from you.
We just had 2 weeks off, and
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun at Podcast. I got a hug from Emily. Finally, I got a hug.
I got to meet John in person, and I got a hug from him, and it was just as good as everybody says it was. I've heard for years how good your hugs are. I remember Jessica talking about it on She Podcasts, and I was like, I'm going to get a hug.
I'll tell you one thing about Podcast Movement. I've never hugged and been hugged so much in a 3-day period in my entire life. Not even at family reunions or anything like that.
When I look back on it and I think of the number of people I've hugged and that I was excited to see, the introvert side of me is like, who was that? Who was that crazy girl? But it's just because, I don't know, I was with my fellow geeks and I loved it and I took advantage of it. And really, and I knew this would happen. I knew I would get so pumped up that at the end of the day, I'd go home and stare at the ceiling to kind of decompress. And I couldn't sleep. I was up late some nights, like really late, like up till 4 a.m, just because I was so excited about the next day, you know?
And you were there early.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped you off the first night, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you were back there at 7:30 because you were at a breakfast the next morning at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And that was actually one of the nights I stayed up really late until 4 a.m. talking to my housemates. Like we got into just this big conversation. It went from podcasting, but it went into other things. But that's the thing is you hear these people, they're talking into your ear very much like we are doing for you. And you get close to them. And even though you've never had real one-on-one conversations where you're actually talking back to them, we all know each other really well just from our shows. And it's just such a cool thing. And it means that's something with my personality. It means that there's no small talk. There isn't that small talk to trip you up, to be like, let's talk about the weather because I don't want to get deep and stuff. It was like, no, you and I have had 2 conversations. Let's go talk about religion and politics right now because we already know, like, we can have a decent conversation about it.
The funny thing was that when I first got to Podcast Movement, I decided not to get the wheelie cart or the chair, the moving chair, the scooter. I decided against the scooter, which was a big mistake. I should have got the scooter. I would have enjoyed it more. And the other thing was that I thought I could do this, and I couldn't. I couldn't sustain the walking and all that stuff. My knees were, I'm in worse shape than I thought I was, to be honest with you. So, but I tried. I mean, you know.
You did.
The first day I went, and the second day I had to use a cane because and then the third day I couldn't even walk. I could not put weight on my knees. And then the fourth day was really, really tough, but I said, I'm going back. I don't care. So I went back the fourth day too. But I think if I would have just used the scooter, I probably would have got more out of it. And now that I'm looking back, it was a mistake because no one would have cared. No one would have cared.
See? And we knew this. We knew this going into it. We talked about it for weeks on the shows leading up to this. We were so nervous. And I even listened yesterday to the show we did right before where I wanted it to be Wednesday and I wanted it to be over. And I realized, yeah, I did. And I'm mad at myself for being so anxious about it because it was the highlight of my year pretty much. And I feel bad. So many people probably have fear of missing out or they're like, I should have gone. Honestly, there will be more. They will be better. They will be closer to you, Adam. Hopefully one day, Podcast Movement Phoenix. Let's hope for that.
Right.
So,
and okay, so the thing for me was that while I was there, I was with my people. I had no anxiety. Getting there was the hardest part. Getting there was the hardest part. Trying to do my best Tom Petty.
That was really good.
So so then once I got there, everybody was just so nice. And I found people that I didn't realize were as tall as they were, and people that wasn't as short as they were. And like I said, the hugging was amazing. And people walking around and saying, John, and you look at them and you have no idea who they are.
Right? Yeah.
How about the one when you and I saw you were the first person that I saw that I knew. So I walked over and we started talking, and a woman walked up to us and started hugging us and talking to us. And I'm like, hey, and I had no idea.
And her badge was turned around and I was like, she's talking to me, just like, oh my God, it's finally you. I finally get to meet you in person. And I'm just like, all right, at this point, I need to pretend to know who you are, and I can't just reach over and turn your badge over. So I had to wait about a minute before I realized who it was.
Yeah, I would have loved to said, hi. But here's the thing. If I would have turned her badge over, I still wouldn't have known who she was until she explained to me where I knew her from.
Yeah.
The other thing was I had people walk over, introduce themselves that I had no idea who were they. I had no idea who they were because I'd never met them.
Yeah.
And you're not expecting that.
No, you're not. It's weird. And the thing is, like, you walk in and you are also fans of people and you feel weird walking up to them, but at the same time, you know them really well. Like, I could have gone up to Katie Kremitzos and been like, congratulations on your baby. That's so exciting. And all the things you do in your group. And we're friends, but we've never actually talked, had a conversation. But, I follow her. I know what she's doing. It's so...
The first night, I'm sitting there, and it was like being in a Star Wars bar. So I'm sitting at a table. Now, some of you were not going to know these people because they're heroes of mine. So Dave Jackson, award
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Fame podcaster Dave Jackson, who's in our group.
He's in our group. You probably know him. We talk about him a lot.
Yes. He was sitting to the right of me. Emily was sitting across from me. Daniel J. Lewis, who basically taught me how to edit, was to the right of me. Another guy, Daryl Darnell, who also taught me how to edit, was behind me. And then the guy who trained me how to podcast just was walking by. I mean, it was just like it felt like a dream. It really felt like a dream.
So let's talk about our eating, though.
Ooh.
This is the reason. Because I could have gotten by with just not eating at all because I was so hyped up on adrenaline.
Yes.
I almost didn't need to. But there was another part of me. It was like the mom part of me of just like, you're going to wear yourself out. You should go get something to eat. You're walking around a lot. I was getting notifications. I ended up taking off my bracelet at one point the day I had to speak because I didn't want it on me. I wanted to look nice and pretty. And I forgot to put it back on. But the thing is, my phone still counts my steps if I have it on me. And it went off every single day of, you've gotten your steps. You've gotten 8,000 steps. You're good. But I was still eating because I was so worried about losing strength and losing momentum. And I was looking for that quick dopamine hit or sugar rush to keep me going. And the first day I was good. The first day I was really good. My window was 8 hours. I was really proud. And I was like, yeah, this is great. I'll do it the second day. The second day I was able to wait until 12 o'clock when I normally eat. But then once that window opened, it was like a garage door for the rest of the time. I just, every social situation had food. When they had free food, I was like, oh, this shouldn't count for calories. Calories on vacations shouldn't count.
But
I'm paying for it now. But I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't go back and be like, you didn't need that free pizza. It's like, yeah, I did. I wanted to see how bad Philadelphia pizza is. And
I did not eat one time at the function. I did not eat a piece of candy. They had free candy at all the tables. I didn't eat anything.
Yeah.
My damage was done afterwards and before. So my eating window, someone threw a rock through it. And that didn't work. And then what happened was I was always running to get, because I was in Philly, I'm always running to get a cheesesteak. I was running to get a cheesesteak. So the carb count was way, way up. Okay, so the second day I was second day I was there, I jumped on a scale because it was, no, third day. I'm sorry. The third day I was there, I jumped on a scale because normally Thursday I weigh myself. I can tell you right now, I was down 7 pounds, which means that the 2 that I gained, I was down 5 pounds.
That's right. You told me that.
Right. So I was like, oh, this is great. I guess the stress came off and things started happening. And, so you talked about your steps.
Uh-oh. We lost John.
And we're back.
And I think Mercury is in retrograde, even though that's not a real thing.
Right.
But
it's real to us.
Stuff happens. It happens.
Yeah. Like I said, this is flying without a net. And it's one of the great things about being in the Facebook group and actually being able to see what happens when this goes on.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things about steps was that you said you had 8,000 steps in.
Yeah.
So when I went to Podcast Movement, I got 1,200 steps in.
Oh.
Now you say 1,200 steps, that's nothing. So then I went back and looked at, because I have the phone, and I really didn't play with the step thing on my phone. So I went back and looked, and my normal steps in a day are anywhere between 275 and 350. 275 and 350 steps a day. So I did 1,200 to one day and 2,100 the second day that I was there. And then the third day, I think I had like 115. So it was, because I couldn't do anything. I really couldn't. That was just from the chair to the bathroom and from the bathroom to the chair for the rest of the day. And then I think I had like 1,400 steps in the third day. So since that happened, I started walking and at least walking 1,200 steps every day since I got back from Podcast Movement. Now,
wow.
My knees are tore up from the floor up. I'm not going to lie. But I'm just kind of pushing through to see if I can continue to do this.
How are your shins?
I have no problem with shins. It's just
really?
My knees.
That's my problem. I think it's my shoes. That was the other thing was I tried to pack really sensible shoes because I knew I would be walking around. I didn't pack any heels because I'm in my 30s. Heels are a 20-year-old's game. I can't do them anymore. Also, because I'm also 5'8", so I tower over a lot of people anyway, that I realize my posture gets really bad and I'm hunching over and I'm looking down at people.
Why do women do that? You're 5'8", okay? Why do you feel you have to be... First of all, you can't wear heels in front of men that are 5'8", so you're taller. So
that's why. Also, well, okay, if I add heels, that's adding another inch or two to my height. Meanwhile, there are lots of people who are... Average height for a female is something like 5'6" or something, and they would be looking up. It's a bad angle. It's like the bad camera on me. So I don't want to add more to that.
I never thought about the bad angle. I just thought that women didn't like to be shorter than men or didn't like to be taller than men because women think that men don't like that. And we don't care. And the ones that care are idiots and you shouldn't be talking to them anyhow. I never thought about the angle. See, this is why this is a great show because you're coming in from the woman's angle. And I'm like, what's the big deal? But okay, I get it.
Oh, Paul thought I was really short. No, I'm really tall. People commented on that at Podcast Movement. They were like, I thought you were shorter. And I'm like, sorry. If I were shorter, I might weigh less because a few less inches, but...
That was the biggest thing for me was seeing people actual height, like our friend who's also in the group, Mark DeCoates. I thought he was like 5'8". He's like 6'3". I was like, whoa. Wow. That's a big deal. A big difference. So, but then again, you get by the third day, you're just used to everything. So it was just, like I said, it's just really, really weird. We see our podcasting friends from the nipples up. So you don't know how tall they are.
Yeah.
So I got some steps in and then I lost that weight. And then what happened was when I got back, so after I got done, the first thing you do is after you get out of there and you feel you're like so pumped up, most people would want to get a drink or something. I want to eat. So like I said, someone threw a rock through my window. So I was eating early and late. So I guess my window was like 12 hours, which was horrible.
At least you had a window. Mine was just, you know what? I'm on vacation. It's fine. I'm coming back. I will go back. I will get right back on the wagon when I come home. That was my problem.
Well, so let's talk about that for a second. So we had a week where we just did something that was amazing, and we went off of our plan, which we almost planned to go off our plan. Our plan
Yeah.
was not to really have a plan, was to enjoy ourselves for those 2 weeks.
When I listened back to last week's episode, I realized I was setting myself up. I already was giving myself the excuse of, if I go off plan, it's not a big deal. I was already planting that into my head because I didn't want to go on the opposite spectrum and be mean to myself and have Regina George say, you really can't afford to go off plan.
You have to come back and talk to people about this, and it might not be good news. And if it's good news, they'll stop listening. So let's talk about the other thing, because I don't know if you had it, but the shame. I wouldn't get on the scale. I knew I was way off a plan. I didn't want to face my fears of how bad it would be. I figured that if I ostriched, if I stuck my head in the sand, that when I pulled it out, there would be nothing, that everything would be fine.
That's how I felt. And I almost wanted to not get on the scale until I had gone back on intermittent fasting for a week, and hopefully it would have been back to normal. But have you ever heard that saying where people are wondering why it takes so long to lose the weight, and the other person comes back with, well, how long did it take to put it on? Okay, it takes me 5 weeks to lose something like 3 pounds. It takes me 5 days to put on 6, apparently.
Well, again, I don't think we're putting. I say so. We're all right. So what we're really doing, if we want to break this down to just the physics, we are putting on mass. It could be anything. It could be water weight. But are we? So really, our goal here is to reduce fat cells in our body. That's our goal. So if we drank, for whatever reason, a gallon of water, that which weighs 7 pounds, we would weigh 7 pounds more. Do we put on 7 pounds of fat? No, we did not. So no matter what we did during that week, we did not gain or lose any fat. You cannot lose that much. So one of the things that does happen, especially if you're eating low carb like I do, if you introduce carbs into your diet, you retain water. And when you retain water, then you're going to put weight on as far as mass when you step on the scale. But the shame of stepping on that scale, then coming and getting behind this mic. And then for me, I don't know about you, but so I was trying to make new habits and things were starting to work, the one meal, 1 day, 1 meal, all that. Well, that went out the window because when the window broke, everything got sucked out. So then the old habits, they all came back and we're like, hey, we're back. Hey, how's it going? Hey, come on, let's go get something to eat. Hey, you know where we haven't been in a while? We haven't been to Taco Bell. Come on, let's go.
What voice is this? If you were to pick a celebrity for that voice, who would you pick?
Artie Lang. This is the Artie. Hey, man, you know what? We got to go. Let's go over here and, you get some Taco Bell. Yeah, we haven't ate. Got to eat, right? Come on, let's go. Hey, we'll get it tomorrow. Because Artie Lang is not one who's very disciplined. My, hey, let's go is Artie Lang. There's no discipline whatsoever in my voice, in my head. It's like, come on. And then here's the other thing. No one's going to know who's around. They're not going to see you. You're not going to know. But what about next Thursday when I get on the scale? It probably won't do anything to you. Come on. That voice is happy voice. It's good to go voice. Let's have some fun voice. It's let's be that guy voice. You're gonna feel good afterwards for a little while.
Mine's like this sweet old woman, kind of like a grandmother. I guess like the witch from Hansel and Gretel, who's like, yeah, come eat my house. It's fine, lovely children. You're safe with me. I have that just very nice, calming, soothing voice telling me to eat, but really, it's a devil. It's a terrible devil.
It is. So now that everything is out the window again, I have to somehow get back into some better habits. So in our Trello board, and we'll have this in the notes, is how to change a habit. And I never even thought about this. I didn't break this down before. There's 3 parts to a habit: the cue, the reward, and the routine. So the cue for me is that feeling of emptiness, or that feeling of loneliness, or that feeling of hunger, which to me feels that's all the same for me, feels the same. The reward is when you eat something, you kind of get that fullness, you get that satisfied feeling. And then the routine is when it happens. So for me, my worst time is late at night. I'm usually done what I'm doing here. Then it's like, okay, I'm going to go upstairs. Well, I want something. Well, what do I want? Well, of course I want to eat. Well, what do I want to eat? Well, of course I want Taco Bell because I like Taco Bell. To me, the food tastes good. I don't know what it is about Taco Bell. I don't know what they put in that crap. As far as I know, they could put cocaine in there. I have no idea because I'm saying they put cocaine. Calm down, Taco Bell. I'm not saying you put cocaine down in your food. I'm just saying that if you lined up 10 fast food places, a pizza place, a sushi place and all, and I had my choice, I'd head to Taco Bell. That's just the thing. So that's the reward, that feeling. And then the routine is you're done. You want to get some. Right now, I have up in my refrigerator egg salad, tuna salad, cucumbers, lettuce, everything to make all kinds of healthy food. And I want that. I want Taco Bell. And I want it now because I've been a good boy. And so then how do I reward myself with a bad behavior? It doesn't make any sense. We
are live in the Facebook group, and I threw that into the video because I can do that. We can't work with a PRN apparently today, but I can throw that infographic up so people could look at this just to see. I love the very first thing on it. The top part of it says, do you want to change a habit? And one of the options is no. And it just points to a little box that says, quit reading this flowchart.
Right, exactly. I think that for me, just being mindful is my biggest problem. When I go on autopilot is when shit hits the fan. Oops, there we go. There, I just got our explicit thing. That's what happens. When I go on autopilot, I fly into a mountain.
Yeah. That's funny you should mention being mindful. I ended up meeting a woman at Podcast Movement. Her name is Hunter Clark something, but she does the Mindful Mama podcast. And when she told me about her show, I listened right away because I was like, that's great. That's what I need. I need more mindfulness, especially with parenting, because my 7-year-old, she's a pip. And my 15-month-old is 15 months old.
Right.
So I need more of that mindful thing. And one of her last episodes was about mindful eating, and this woman talking about slow eating and quiet eating in quiet. So you're not very stimulated by anything outside. You're enjoying the flavors, you're enjoying the textures. And it's true. You get very into your food and you are able to pick up those signals from your body of, oh, maybe I don't want this. Maybe I don't want this quick thing because it's quick and I'm just trying to do something else at the same time. I've done that mindful eating. It also takes time. That's the thing. We're so programmed to just work, where taking time for ourselves, whether you're a mom or whether you're a female or whether you're a male or whether you're just working all the time trying to make ends meet, taking time for yourself just, I don't know, we have this terrible guilt about it.
For us to be successful, we are going to need to take more time for ourselves. You're going to have to schedule it. You're going to have to work at this and work at this routine, because as soon as I let my guard down, as soon as I go on autopilot, I go off the rails. My old bad habits, they love creeping back in, and they're good at it. And then the other thing is, in a way, you're trying to change them, or in a way, you're just like, well, okay, there's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. Or, oh, you know what? Okay. I know I got 3 more days. I got 3 more days till I have the podcast. If I don't eat until after the podcast, I might lose a couple pounds. But see, again, it's all that unhealthy way of doing things.
Yeah. And that's the stuff that, not that we were brought up with, but I don't know. For me, it was always about finding shortcuts for things. And I mean, I do that in work, not necessarily bad, but if I see a better, more efficient way to do something, I'm more prone to taking the shortcut to making it easier on myself. And I do that with dieting it would take months of eating well and watching what I eat and tracking everything I eat, but we all want that quick fix. We all want that shortcut of, well, if I just don't eat for 3 days, the scale will go down for this one little goal of coming on and doing a podcast about it. And then I can let myself go again until I realize it's Monday and I have to record in 3 days. So that's dangerous. We gotta get out of that.
Yeah, and my order at the fast food place, whichever one it is massive. I don't know why. I just it's amazing that I could actually eat that much food. And then if I actually look at the calorie count, it's ridiculous. So I want to be held accountable.
Oh.
Here we go. So here's my accountability. So every day I'm going to take a walk. Every day I'm going to get at least 1,500 steps in. That's every day. Every day. So now how am I going to do that? So one of the things that I love to do, when I get up in the morning, first thing I do is I take a shower because it kind of gets you refreshed and started for the day. So before I'll allow myself to take a shower, I have to go get my 1,500 steps in. It's not that far. All right. So I go do that. Then I can get my shower. Then I'll do my stuff. Then I'll set an alarm for when the window opens. The alarm should sound like when they let the horses out, at the horse track. But then again, the meals have to be planned out because what's the old saying? If you don't plan for success, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
So that's my accountability for next week. And then we'll see what happens as far as, and no, I am not taking a picture of everything I eat and put it on Instagram. I hate people that do that. It drives me insane. Great. You had a salad. You know what? I could take pictures of salad. I can Google pictures of salad and put it up there. Still go to Taco Bell.
All my photos would be stock photos, and I would be too lazy to even take the watermark off.
Right.
But I had a similar idea of doing an accountability thing, and my idea actually came last night when Jessica posted that she was going for a walk, and she posted it in the group, and she talked about how she had to really force herself. She's like, it's just a walk. You could do this 20 minutes. And she forced herself to do that. And seeing that in the group made me get up. And so I have a rowing machine next to me. It's my husband's. My husband wanted this rowing machine. It's not mine at all. I didn't want it.
It's in your house. It means it's yours. It means you can get on it.
Well, yeah, I can get on it and stuff. But I want to make it clear. He bought it. He was going to use it.
Yes.
He has used it maybe 7 times, maybe. So it's next to me because that's really the only place in the house for it. So when she posted that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get on. I still have Philadelphia stuck in my head. So I put the Rocky soundtrack on. I listened to it. I rode for a little while. I rode for about 5 minutes. Here's the thing about a rowing machine. It's a full body exercise. So if you're,
certainly is.
So if you're on it for 5 minutes, you're getting a pretty decent workout.
All the parts are moving.
Yeah, exactly. So I got on it, and then I had this idea, and we'll see how it works out. Because if I'm downstairs and I'm next to this thing and it only takes me maybe 5 minutes to get on it, every time somebody posts in the group, if they post a picture, if they post inspiration, if they post just anything in the group, I get that notification. I'm going to go and row on that machine for a few minutes.
That's dangerous because we can post a lot.
Well, if I'm downstairs, maybe I'll run upstairs and be like, I'm not downstairs.
I'm just saying. I mean, I understand that, but I think that might be a better something that I think is more accountable and is maybe 3 times a day. You'll do it before you start work. When you take your break, for your eating window, you'll do it. And then at the end of the day, you'll do it for 5, how long ever you want to do it. And that'll start a habit.
Yeah,
no,
but
no.
I don't know. I want the weirdness. I want the weirdness of it.
Well,
I just want the challenge of it for a week.
The weirdness is what makes me run away from it. That's too weird for me because I'm like, what? Who put this meme in here? And I'm on the rowing machine, Stop it with the memes and all these good vibes and everything.
The thing is, people only post in our group 3 times a week or 3 times a day. So at the most.
The funny thing is that when you say you do this, then even the lurkers will start to post stuff.
Great.
Okay, there you go.
That's good for our group.
Do you. This is what this is all about. You do you. I don't think I could do that, but you do you. Here's the other thing. I like the idea of having something here. Because I have a big studio here, too. You know, it's the whole downstairs. And I have a weight bench and dumbbells and all that. And there's no reason why I can't do something like that here. So I should do the same thing. So I'll work on that, too. Having it right here so that I can make sure that I'm doing something more. I got to get more exercise in here. And then hopefully that won't increase my appetite. But no, I like the idea of that. That's a great idea.
You know what else? And we don't really touch on exercise a lot. We've had episodes where we talk about it here and there. We talked on it a little bit in the last episode. But one thing with exercise is it doesn't necessarily help you lose weight, but it does put your mind in that place of, I'm doing this for myself. I might as well do the diet thing too. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't erase any bad eating. It just...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it puts me in that mindset.
This is a little off into the weeds here, but so for me, ketogenic is what I'm doing in intermittent fasting. And I follow a lot of people that are coaches and have lost weight and training and stuff like that. And then I'll get someone and they'll post in there that says, here's a study that just said that intermittent fasting does nothing that just reducing calories would do if you ate different meals. And I'm like, that makes no sense to me. The science, the logic of the science makes sense to me. And that someone had a study or did a study. How did they use the study? What's the control group? To me, I see things are happening here. So instead of getting mad at it, I'm just like, okay, you do you. You don't want to do intermittent fasting. No one's holding a gun to your head. No one says you have to. No one says you have to eat ketogenic. No one says you have to do intermittent fasting. Some people are doing Weight Watchers. Some people are doing other things. Whatever works for you is what we're talking about. What we're trying to do here is talk about the problems we're having, and then as a group come together and work through them. Because it's not about moving more and eating less. There's, as we can see right now, it's shame, it's habits, it's all this other stuff that's been going on our whole entire life that has got us in this predicament.
Yeah, Jessica's in the chat room. She says, for me, exercise makes me feel more energy. She also doesn't want to derail the eating because she worked hard. That's exactly it for me. And going back to your point with intermittent fasting, sure, I can reduce my calorie count to what I'm eating during intermittent fasting. But the thing is, it just makes me feel better. My body feels better when I just eat once in that tiny window, as opposed to all day where as soon as I eat anything, even a snack, even, a few grapes, probably not a few grapes, but a giant snack 3 times a day, I'm just feeling
tired
at the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the insulin rush and it makes you tired. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you there. All right. What about winning Wednesdays? How's the group doing?
Oh, my goodness. Everybody else did so much better than we did. So yay for them. So Wayne, in an effort to cut back on chocolate, especially since there's already a bunch of tiny candies at his work, he no longer buys a full-size candy bar on the way to work. Small steps. On the plus side, he doesn't get to sit for too long at work. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Like I said, coming from an elevator repairman position where I probably put in, 15,000 steps a day to doing 300, that's a big difference. So that's cool.
Where's our doo-doo?
Hang on. Where is it? Here it is. Whoops,
Yay.
Hold on. I scared Jessica one time with this. I had to turn it down, but now that I fixed my soundboard, here we go.
No, now it's nice and quiet.
Oh, but shouldn't it be more like this? Okay, whatever. It's sorry. There we go.
We'll figure this out. Craig says chocolate is his weak spot too. Luckily, with the high temperatures over here, because I know he's in Europe, he's not buying any because it melts in the heat.
Don't they have refrigeration over there in Europe?
Yeah, but I don't even like a refrigerated chocolate bar. I know that's a thing,
It
but
is a thing.
I like it room temperature.
Really?
Yeah. I like my soda room temperature too. I'm a weirdo.
Okay.
Don says staying on plan and hitting fat burn was his winning Wednesday. He fit into a suit coat. That's awesome. He doesn't even bother with the scale. His belt tells him everything. That is the way to go. That is an awesome, awesome way to do it. Do we have more doo-doos? I think we missed Craig's doo-doo.
There we go.
And then one for Don. All right.
I got to get on my, see, I'm even lacking in my to-dos.
We have Mark, who said he's just happy to be back on track this week after indulging at Podcast Movement last week. He was with us. He doesn't know if he lost any of the 5 pounds he gained while away, but he's already feeling slimmer, which is a good sign. So that's one of those great things about going back on the wagon, and also when you're first on a diet, is having that, ooh, like I feel lighter, I wake up, I feel better, I'm so good. I just want that to continue.
Well, the funny thing with Mark and that crowd was they walked everywhere. They walked, they walked all over the place. They were always walking for ice cream, and they were walking to go get cheesesteaks, or they were walking to go get dinner. So I think that might have offset some of it. So here we go, Mark.
Yay. Are we ready?
Oh, here we go.
Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for the moment you have all been waiting for. It's time for the weigh-in.
Thank God it's an odd episode.
Thanks again to Jason Bryant for that. It does pep me up. I love it. So it is an odd episode. My scale is down here.
Okay.
So you people, you're going to hear me go on the scale. You know, I'll move the microphone over so you can hear the swears. John, vamp for a minute.
Okay. Emily's out of the shot now. I hear her stepping onto the scale. The scale's going back and forth. It's zeroing in, and...
All right. Okay. I am up from last week 5 pounds. 5 fucking pounds.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to write it down. Oh, it hurts to write it down. My hand is actually shaking from writing it down. Where was I? Okay. I was this number for episode 9. We're at episode 15.
We went on vacation.
All
right. It'll come back. That's the best thing about this. Is okay. I have John's inspirations for later.
Okay. I am still not as heavy as I was when we started this podcast.
Exactly.
That's the main thing I need to keep thinking about.
All right. So for my yo-yoing, I can't remember where I am. I know what my starting weight was, but I can't remember back and forth because remember at one point I was down. So I gave back the weight that I had lost from walking around. So right now I'm down total 28 pounds, but I think I was 30 pounds last time. Down 30 pounds. I can't remember. I can't remember, to be honest.
Now I'm like, well, what? Because you stayed at a number for like 3 weeks.
I might be flat. I might be flat again, which I didn't gain. But what I did was I gave back 6 because I know last week when I got on the scale, I was 6 pounds lighter than I am now. So I gave back 6 pounds in a week.
I'm going to put 0.
Yeah,
just to make it easy for math.
Right. I think that so I'm at the same, which was, it's disheartening for me because I had it and I let it go. So that was a little bit, but okay. So here's the thing, because I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'm going to go into my John inspirations real quick.
Well, first, our Jessica inspiration right now in the chat room. Jessica inspiration is so what?
No, I get this. So what?
Yeah.
I get it. All right. So here's the thing. Bad habits love to sneak back into your life. And I'm going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I'm going to reverse it. So the ugly was, in the last 2 weeks, I was on a weight roller coaster. I was up and down and back and forth. The bad was I gave back the 6 pounds that I did lose. The good is we haven't quit. I haven't quit.
No,
This
I know.
is, for me, it's a long dry spell. I'm not giving up. We're coming back here. The support of this group is amazing. The podcast is growing. People seem to like to hear me whine and cry about things I don't do. So, I'm not sure about that. I'm just making a joke. But I think that as we go through here, that this has probably been the longest time that I've been on a diet where I've been kind of still floundering around, where I just haven't just thrown in the towel and just said, screw it. You know?
Yeah.
So
I had so much fun. Those 5 pounds are worth it.
Yeah.
They're totally worth it. Gotta
exactly.
have that in my head.
Right now, planning on going to Podfest in February.
Yep.
So that tells me that I have this amount of time to get in better shape so I can enjoy the conference more, so I can stand there and talk to people more. I want to get back to that. I didn't realize how much out of shape I was. Podcasting kind of allows me to cocoon in here a little bit and be in here where I can set up things, and I just didn't realize how bad it was until I got out and actually had to do some more, and I'm going to continue to do that. So it was a wake-up call, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So if I had to give back 6 pounds to go hang out with podcasters and have a great time, then that's the price. That's the price of podcasting, and I'll do it. It doesn't define me. It doesn't mean I was bad. I'm not going to be shamed over this, not by anybody else, myself, because you know me. You know, first time when I stepped on that scale this morning, this is what I heard.
You look like a bucket of lard on a bad day. You baby gorilla. Why don't you work a zoo and stop bothering people?
So I'm not going to allow that to happen, and we'll just continue on.
Yeah, we'll keep going. We're still here. This is one of my favorite podcasts to go up. Well, I have like 2. So probably my favorite podcast to come on and do every single week, just because I get to talk to you. I get to hang out with you. We have an amazing, amazing chat room. If anybody is listening to the show later on, if it's a Thursday, if it's 11 o'clock in the morning, come visit. Come in the Facebook group, the Hate to Wait discussion group on Facebook. Come join us.
And if
It's
you didn't
great.
make it afterwards, watch it. You'll see all the good, the bad, and the ugly that's about podcasting too.
Oh yeah, you get to see all of our flubs.
All of our flubs and all the things that happen, all the tech problems. And it's so funny when something like that, something that happens in podcasting, if there's a we don't even bother. We just roll with it because we know. But when something like that happens with weight loss, for some reason, we feel like it defines us. And I think that's one of the biggest things about this is it doesn't define us. You have setbacks. It happens. You just, the problem is you don't fail until you quit. And we haven't quit. So we haven't failed. We can continue to do this.
Yeah, we're good. Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening to Hate to Wait. For more information, you can visit hatetowait.com for show notes and links to everything we talked about in this episode. And if you'd like to join us in our journey, please be part of the Hate to Wait discussion on Facebook, hatetowait.com/Facebook. Emily, little setback. Next week, we're going to hit it hard. Big numbers next week.
Low numbers, little numbers.
Yeah, big low numbers.
No whammies.
No whammies. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.